daily
Thank you for tuning in
So
this time on Disrupt and Discuss podcast.
I'm fighting my age. I'm not just
You ain't going, you kicking this, you're not going in like, okay, you got me.
whenever the conversation comes up of age or something, I'm not just wearing my age on my sleeve. But when you say, "Oh, I'm at this age or that age," you're like, "What?"
Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss with your hosts, E and Casey. A Blue Shade Ventures production brought to you by It's Just ETV and My Herba by the Fitness Collective. Now, without any further ado, disrupt and discuss.
Hey everyone.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. You guys, Casey and I, we have another one. Today, we are going to be discussing. We did one earlier when we first started about fasting, and it was called Fasting Variations. And I'm going to attach it to this video. It'll be up in the corner of this video if you want to catch the original. But Casey and I, we wanted to come back to this because I felt there were parts of it that needed to be explained a little bit better, some backstory, some more detail that we could add to this. So that's where we are today. We wanted to come back and talk about this fasting like a revamp. And so we're calling this one the foundations. This part is going to be called foundations, where fasting comes from and why it works. And so hopefully everyone will take something from this that maybe you can use. Maybe it will introduce you to fasting. Maybe it will show you why your fast didn't work when you tried it, and demystify some things for you. That's the hope. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. We're going to start this conversation. All right. So for me, when I first heard about fasting, my biggest misconception, I felt, ain't no way I'm doing that. I'm going to starve myself. My first introduction to fasting was in church.
Oh, yeah.
The church every year.
Fast.
Every year, the first of the year, set your life. We're going to fast and pray. And you had the choice of the Daniel fast, only eating fruits and vegetables, or you had the water fast.
Remember, you have to pray though. Otherwise, you're just starving yourself. That's what
you're just starving yourself. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And you're wasting it. And you also, they would put together, you can come together in 6:30 in the morning before you go to work, or 6 in the morning, 6 a.m. prayer, or you get on the phone line and pray.
Oh,
this
gosh.
Be for a whole month,
I remember
right?
That. Mm-hmm.
So that was my first introduction to fasting. And I was like, okay, I tried it. Did you try the one with the church? I tried one with the church.
Yeah, I did.
I don't think I made it, but 2 weeks.
I went down in flames quickly. I was already dreading it before it even started. We were talking November, and I was already dreading it because I didn't understand really what it was all about. Yeah, they talked to you and told you, but you're sitting there and they're in the pulpit and they're explaining it to you, and it's
you fast for breakthroughs. You fast for if you need a job, if you need income, you're looking for a husband. You fast and pray for all these things that it was somehow they stated it, they put it in a way of this is a way for you to have a heightened experience with your creator.
The clarity. Maybe I'm not doing it right because all of what you've said, and
right, especially when it was new. So some things I can relate to now, since I've gone down this rabbit hole of fasting for years. But back then, when I got introduced to it, I was like, I'm starving right now. I'm hungry.
But see, the thing for me, why it just didn't make sense at first was because I was brought up in a different religion. So I was brought up Catholic, and we had our way of doing things, but then you had Lent. So it's something similar. But then when I changed over to a non-denominational church, besides having people catching the Holy Ghost and running through the room and crying, it was a lot to absorb. So then you're telling me to fast and pray. And I'm like, okay, does this translate into Lent? Is this not this? Is this not that? It just was hard for me to get on board.
What's Lent for people who may not know what Lent is all about?
Well, there's a lot of different processes as you going into Easter. So there's certain things that you do. And I've been out of the loop for so long. So forgive me if I'm butchering the whole process, but I grew up where I wasn't in Catholic school, but after school, we went to what they call catechism.
Yes.
So I took classes to get, and then you got your communion to get your Holy Communion. Then you were going to classes. Again, a bunch of us would go after school. We go to another school at a Catholic school, and you learn all about being a Catholic, all about Catholicism. So then when I got into the eighth grade, I went and then I got my confirmation. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a whole thing. That means then at that point, I would have been ready to, if I were so choose, get married in a Catholic church, that whole thing, which my daughter came to my wedding and I got married at my godmother's house. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, we didn't do that. Yeah.
We didn't do a lot of that. So yeah, it was a lot. One of the things, and I know getting off the subject a little bit, one of the things that turned me against it was, to my understanding, once the veil was torn, we no longer had to go to the Father to get to the Son kind of a thing. Being Catholic, then we would have to go to confession. So we would go to confession. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been X amount of days since my last confession, blah, blah, blah. I still remember all the
Mhm.
pomp and circumstance. And then you go in there and you tell them what you've done.
And you're like, ugh.
When I was a kid growing up, that was one thing. It wasn't that big a deal. But by the time I got to my late teens and 20s, and I ain't going in there.
I know. I ain't telling you nothing.
All I'm saying is I'm just glad they didn't have social media back then, because my college years were very enlightening, to say the least. But I just didn't feel that I needed to go and explain to somebody what I did. I know what I did. So that, among other things, that wasn't for me. And then I noticed that a lot of kids, when you're in your 20s, you leave the church, whatever denomination it is, for a while, because you're out and about and you're discovering just
Right.
life in general. And I knew I didn't want to come back to that. So then that's when you and I met at the church that we went to.
Mhm.
And seeing that for the first time was really an eye opener. It was actually scary, because you see people that all of a sudden they're shouting and running and doing stuff. And it wasn't all the time, but you saw that. But then one of the things that the pastor had explained to me, which makes total sense, even just in everyday life, you don't know what that person went through yesterday or that week. So there might be a song, there might be something that touches them in such a way, they have no choice but to get it out. So once that was explained to me, I was able to do that, as far as sit there when somebody is crying and doing whatever, because yeah, they might have had a bad week. I don't know.
Right.
Then when it came down to that whole fasting and stuff for breakthrough and clarity, to me, it still wasn't, that wasn't something, it just made sense. So I had to take it out of that vernacular.
Mhm.
I just had to look at it as health and wellness, something that I do on a daily basis, but it's not necessarily for clarity. It's
Mhm.
just to keep my health and wellness in check,
And
just to bring it all full circle. But that's
right.
how I ended up saying this works for me, the fasting.
And I totally get that. I had some similar experiences as well. Like I said, when I first experienced fasting, it was fasting and praying, and I really didn't understand. I was probably in my teens. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm doing it, but not really understanding.
Right.
It didn't mean anything to me. It didn't have any substance at that point. But I've also been through different types of fasts. A lot of people do it for weight loss. A lot of people now, they end up doing it for weight loss, but it's not necessarily all about weight loss per se. And
Exactly.
a lot of people don't understand that fasting has been in existence for millennia, forever. And ancestors used to use it, fasting, as a necessity, like for scarcity. Your body, we didn't have 3-course meals like we were just discussing. It wasn't breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. A lot of times, whatever was there, you had to eat off of. And if it wasn't seasonal, you didn't, no refrigerators, no stove, no nothing. So it was a scarcity type of
Right.
situation. So you fasted for necessity, not because any clarity or anything like that. So
Let's be clear, right?
let's be clear. It's the truth. When we talk about that, it's important to understand that this is not anything new. It's been around, it's been in existence. And one of the things that I have been doing recently, and the reason why I wanted to reapproach this again, is because I've been reading this book by Dave Asprey. And if people don't know Dave Asprey, he is this biohacker. Some people call him the father of biohacking. And I actually read one of his books years ago before I even knew who the heck he was. And it was called Bulletproof Diet.
Mm,
Yeah,
familiar with
bullet,
it.
and that's where I got the bulletproof coffee. And I still utilize the bulletproof method of making my coffee. And I've just been reintroducing certain parts of it back into my regimen. But this book that I've recently been reading is called Fast This Way. So he revamped the book because he's no longer with Bulletproof. He sold that company. And so he has something different, and he reintroduced the fasting methods. And so in this book, it was talking about fasting is the ultimate biohack because it works. with biology and not against it. And then he was talking about the modern conventions of eating has been disrupted by the natural fasting cycles. And when you fast, you're not depriving yourself, but you're giving your body a chance to repair and optimize itself.
Absolutely.
And it's so true. And so I was like, hey, and I went to Casey and I was like, you think we need to redo this? And she's, yeah, let's do it. So this is where we are right now. David Asprey calls fasting the oldest biohack in the world. And what that means is it's because our bodies are literally evolved to handle periods without food, like we just discussed.
Absolutely.
Our ancestors didn't have 24/7 access to food like we do now, right?
Nope.
And here's what's wild. When you fast, we're not fighting our biology, we're working with it. Our bodies have this built-in mechanism, this built-in inner knowledge that kicks in when we don't eat for certain periods of time. So it's actually not
Right.
harming us. It actually helps us. It optimizes things. So what actually happens when you fast? Let's talk about that.
Well, one thing I wanted to get into, and again, we've already said it as well, but it's not just about skipping meals. So as we get into it, we'll get into a lot more of the minutia of it. We're talking about the ancient practice that's been around for thousands of years. But now we're just now learning to understand the science of why it works. And I'm personally curious about the fasting beyond just the weight loss part, because
Right.
as you and I have spoken, it's been more or less a way of life now, what we do. So if you
Right.
happen to lose a few pounds along the way, that's great. But we'll get into that too, because it's not about the pounds, it's the inches and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. But I throw that part in there too, just in case.
I love it. So the science breakdown, the first 12 to 16 hours, what can happen? Your body depletes glycogen, and that's your stored sugar. So whoever doesn't know what glycogen is, just your stored sugar. Insulin levels drop significantly. Your body starts shifting to fat burning mode. So you're burning that fat. You're burning your existing storage of what you have already there. In the 16 to 24 hours, ketosis kicks in. So your ketones, you're burning fat for fuel. Whatever's stored up in you, you're utilizing that for burning fuel. And that's how weight loss can potentially happen, because whatever you got stored up during that period, that's when you start burning that off. Your growth hormone increases about 5 times at the normal level. Your mental clarity often
Clarity
that
again.
clarity. Okay, people thinking it's a spiritual thing, but it's actually your body is depleting its storages. And so you do have that moment of clarity and not all fogged up because that sugar and all that fat that's stored is being let go.
Well, I mean, even to break it down into layman's terms, it's like spring cleaning. You're
Yes.
cleaning everything out. Once you finally clean your room, make your bed, what have you, you're like, damn, I could really see what's going on. I can function. So I equate that with, like I said, spring cleaning. Then you can actually function.
Yep.
So, but
You can see your room.
yeah,
It's not all cluttered.
you can actually think, even at a 9 to 5 job, when you clean your desk and organize, you're like,
Yep.
"Whew, okay, now I'm ready to go home." But
Right.
that's a
Right.
different thing altogether.
But that is, I mean, that's a great visual. When you clean your desk, you can actually function and do your job better. And that's the
Yes,
same with your body. You're cleaning out these stored
exactly.
fats and sugars. And so now your body can function the way it was created to function.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's exactly what's going on. So within 24 to 72 hours, autophagy kicks in. That
Hmm.
is the cellular cleanup and repair. So your immune system regenerates and your stem cell activates. And we've said this before, and I think we should say it again. The body is God's creation, but he made it miraculous. It can
It, it
do
knows
what
what
it
to
needs
do.
to do. You just
Yeah.
have to give it the right environment to do what it needs to do. It's very smart.
Yeah, and one of the things too, I wanted to just jump in with, when you are fasting, and this is something that you haven't done before, or if you're taking it to the next level, if you're doing the 12 to 16 and you want to do the go even longer, you do get the hunger pains, but it's not necessarily saying that you're hungry and you need to eat. Getting used to hearing the rumbling,
Right.
it's like, oh, okay, something good is going on. It really is. It's
Yes.
doing what you have outlined in the various characteristics of various hours that you have fasted. It
Yeah,
makes perfect sense.
absolutely. And that's why they say the first 72 hours is critical. You're going to go through mood swings. You're going to go through, I think I'm hungry. I'm starving. I need food. I can't do this. Your
Right,
body is going to flip out because it's doing something that it's not used to doing. It's that point of pushing through. And once you get through those 72 hours, your body adapts. And it's like, oh, this is
right,
what you're doing? Okay. But it needs to go through that adaptation period.
exactly.
Your body has two fuel systems, sugar burning and fat burning. Fasting teaches your body to efficiently shift between those two. So that's what it's doing. It's learning to maneuver. And you're trying to retrain your body to do something that it was created to do in the first place. But modern day Western ways of eating, Western ways of looking at things has caused us to look away from what this body was naturally created to do.
Exactly. I mean, and everybody's trying to make a better mousetrap, as I always say. And they're always doing a spin on everything, but it's the same old adage, what was going on back then. And they're just doing something slightly different to be able to call it their own.
I agree. So the types of fast, let's get into that. You want to take
Okay.
that?
The different fasts that we have. First one is the intermittent fasting. That's one of the ones that I do daily. So there's the 16-8 method, which is the most popular, which is the one that I do. You have an 8-hour window to eat. So personally, it's like from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's the time period that I have to eat. And so that works out better for me for the simple fact that once I've eaten for the day, I'm falling out and you're sleeping for all those other hours anyway, and your body is regenerating. So by the time I wake up and get my day going, and have your liquids that you drink and all that, it's by like 10:30, quarter to 11. And it's almost time to eat. And once you get used to doing the fasting, sometimes when 12 o'clock gets here, I'm still not ready to eat. The more advanced one is the 18-6. So you only have, if I'm correct, a 6-hour window to eat. And I'm getting more into that phase of it because I just don't eat that much.
You don't
No,
require that much
no.
time.
No, and we were talking about sweets. Now, I'm not really a sweet eater, but I do love my ice cream, whether
Right.
it be dairy-free, keto, depending on the flavor, I'll eat it. I tend to eat that first. And you were like, "You eat your ice cream?" I eat those things first, and one trainer told me years ago, because I thought he was crazy when he said you should do that, because I'm up and I'm walking around, I'm still doing stuff, and I'm burning off what I've eaten. As the day goes on, I eat less and less when it gets closer to that closing out period. So it makes more sense for me. So I might have ice cream for what air quote breakfast time, if you will, eating something else, and I'm eating less and less towards the day, but I'm still moving around and I wore off those calories at that point. This one is extremely advanced. I'm not there yet. Is OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. That I've tried that, but again, that's different. So that's one of them. And then there's a 5-2, which you normally eat 5 days and you restrict yourself for 2 days. Not there yet.
She's like,
Not there yet. And
I
then there's also, you have your extended fasting periods. So
Mhm.
there's that 24-hour fast. Then you have that 48 to 72-hour fast, and your deeper autophagy benefit clicks in. Tongue twister for me.
I
Then there's the 5-day fasting, and it's mimicking a diet, but it's a 5-day fasting. And I'm not sure just what would make somebody do it like that, but there are people that are out there that do those for those extended periods of time. And then you also want to get into, there's also the spiritual and cultural fasting. So of
Mhm.
course, for those of you that know, there's Ramadan from sunrise to sunset for 30 days. The Daniel fast, what we talked about right out the gate, was
Right.
plant-based, and that's 21 days. And then there's Lent, again, that we had already spoke about. So
Right.
those are the ones that we have there. And then you want to go into your modern variations. And as E had mentioned earlier, the bulletproof coffee fasting. Now, I don't really do that. I heard that coffee tastes really well. I have one of my besties was doing it. Every once in a while, she'll still do it, and she swears by it. She likes the taste. So it's not necessarily something she's doing, but she likes that. According to Dave Asprey's approach, it's technical fast with MCT oil and grass-fed butter. And then there's the dry fasting. No food or water. It's extreme and not recommended for beginners. You'll just friggin' pass out. And then
He said you're past
oh
exactly.
yeah, because you're still doing your daily activities, and you have to kind of modify that and keep that in mind as well. One of the times when I used to commute, I used to take the train into work, and you don't want to pass out on the train.
You don't want to pass out on that nasty thing, Lord.
Have you tried the bulletproof coffee fasting? Have you done
Yeah,
that?
I do it currently.
Oh, okay.
I currently do it. Is Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, how is it? I mean, I tasted it,
Mhm.
not knowing what all went into it, and it tasted really well. But then when you break it down, it's like, who would even thought of those?
It's like Dave Asprey's creation, so to speak. He was seeking to like better his cognitive performance, his energy,
Okay.
and not being a fog. If you read his story, he had a lot of child ailments up into his teenage years where he suffered from a lot of different things. And he would go to conventional doctors, traditional doctors, and no one could really help him. And everything that they gave to him, like pills and things of that nature, wasn't really helping him with his state of being. He always knew that maybe there was something else that he could do to possibly better himself, right? And so he went into this stage of creating biohacking. And biohacking essentially is just trying to take your own guinea pig and you try different things to see if it will help you adapt science and traditions, ancient traditions, and try it on yourself. Like, say, for instance, we talk about sea moss, and we found that sea moss has the 92 of the 102 that we need, right? And
Correct.
so you try it. You found out about it. You found out that this is essential to your body, and then you start trying it, and you see how it makes you feel, what it changes in your body, and you pretty much you calculate or you write about what it's doing to your body and how you approve, and you go down this rabbit hole.
Makes
And
sense.
right, and so that's how he got on this journey. But essentially, bulletproof coffee is, and a lot of people say that. Some people say that it's breaking your fast. Some people say it doesn't break your fast. And they're saying
Okay.
you can't eat those things. It's going to break your fast. Your body is not fasting, but it actually is. It's providing, it's not, remember, fasting is taking away the sugar and the fats, right? Your storage places.
Correct.
So when you're taking an MCT oil, that's a very healthy oil, and the grass-fed butter is offering another version of like your protein. It's a fat, it's a healthy fat. And so
Right.
it's
Right.
satiating you in order for you to fast longer for longer periods of time. And you're not adding sugar to the coffee. You're not adding creams to the coffee. It's just straight coffee, MCT oil, and some grass-fed butter. And that's allowing your body to stay in a state of ketosis, a state of fat burning, a state of clarity
Okay.
for a longer period of
Okay.
time.
That makes sense because sometimes if I do need to air quote break my fast, I'll have bone broth. Because like I was telling you, I went for years as a vegan and I've slowly started coming out of that because it was time for my body to switch and do something a little different. Still more or less on the vegetarian side and more Asian type way of food. I'll have some meat, but still a majority of it's still vegetables more than anything. And so we'll do the bone broth in the morning instead of the coffee sometimes. And that'll keep me going until I hit my 12 o'clock when I'll just devour something else. But that keeps me going. I don't have the thought of falling off. I don't feel like I'm being tortured in some way. No, really.
No, you're serious. At some point, you'll feel like I'm torturing myself.
Yeah. What the fuck is this? Where's the bacon and eggs or something?
Right.
But I don't even feel like wanting to eat that because I've been doing this for a while to where, and I got away from it for the longest. And then now I'm reining everything back in to say, okay, what really works for you and what doesn't work for you. That helps.
Absolutely. And we'll get into the bone broth and breaking of the fast because that's definitely a way to break your fast. And I found that it works well.
Hmm.
But I wanted to touch back on the intermittent because Casey and I, we both intermittent fast.
Right.
And we have been doing it for a number of years. And I always
Yeah.
go back to it because for me, because I'm bariatric, right? I have this itty bitty stomach that I did to myself. I allowed them to cut my stomach and I can't consume a lot, right? So a lot of times for me, when I would try to eat breakfast, either it didn't agree with me or I eat and I automatically feel sleepy. I automatically want to go back to bed. I can't be eating eggs, bacon, toast, bagel, grits, pancakes, waffles, biscuits, and gravy. I can't do none of that. I used to be able to when I was big E, but now I can't do it. I have tried, y'all. I've tried the chicken and waffle. Sister want to go to sleep. So I can't do it. So it was easier for me to do intermittent fasting because I feel that I can think.
Right.
I have energy. I have clarity. I can get up and go. And the 16-8 is what I do as well. So for 16 hours, I'm off. Most of
Right.
it's sleeping. 8 hours, I'm on. I think Casey says she's 12 to 8. I am 1:30 to 8. So my first meal usually is 1:30 to 8. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes I only have one meal a day. And those of y'all who be
Hmm.
on tap in with me and you see me munching while I'm doing the show, that's my first and only meal.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that comes to mind when you're talking because you don't, what is it? You live to eat or don't eat
Yep.
that whole thing.
Yep.
Because some people will say, "Oh, after I eat breakfast, I was already considering what I'm going to have for lunch," and I'm like, "Well, damn."
Right. But this intermittent fasting definitely helps me. I know it helps us to
It
kind of
does.
like stay the course, stay focused.
One of the things for me is because we don't use the word diet and all that kind of stuff, but I don't really. Not that I just go and jump into all the bad things to eat, but I don't necessarily worry or monitor necessarily what I'm eating, if that makes any
Hmm.
sense,
Hmm.
because I know I'm only eating a certain time a day, a certain period of time. So I'll go and I'll eat. And when it's over, sometimes I'm done before the time is up, to be quite
Right.
honest, because your body is trained. Okay, I'm not hungry. I don't necessarily want to be stuffed. Last week, we went to some friends and hang out and stuff. And they had, oh my God, they still are probably eating that food. There was just so much food. So I piled my plate. That was like the OMAD thing that I
Hmm.
only had that for the day. But I was just so bloated. It was crazy. So, and I didn't eat again until dang near the afternoon the next day because I was still full.
Feeling the
And I
effect.
then once you do the fasting, you get to the point where you don't like that feeling of being stuffed. I'll even say full. When I've eaten, I'm
Hmm.
done. I'm
Hmm.
content. I'm okay. And when you overeat, it doesn't feel good at all.
I agree with you.
So it makes you really, you get to know your body, basically. So when I'm done here and I eat, I might kick back and watch TV, fall out or whatever, but just know once before 8 o'clock gets here, I won't be eating after.
And you said an
Mhm.
important thing that I always think of when I'm doing this is you get to know your body. A
Mhm.
lot of this journey that I'm on is getting to know me, getting to know what I can do, what my body's capable of, and going back to a lot of things that were taken away from us that actually
Mm.
help us. But for some reason, well, we know the reason, but you there those things that our ancestors did or our grandparents did, those things had meaning, they had purpose. And that's probably the reasons why they lasted longer than we last now. They say that we're living longer, but they lived longer, healthier lives, I would
They
say.
had a better quality of life and
Quality of
things.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're living longer, but some of us are just existing in hospitals, just existing in beds. It's not living.
Yep. You're right. It's crazy. And again, along with the eating, it goes part and parcel with exercise. And I'm not saying you got to go and run 40 miles and all this kind of stuff, but just keeping your body active. So again, this is what that's about as well. So this is in conjunction with it. I don't work out nowhere near like I used to, but I try to at least do it at least 3 times a week, at least various things. And then one of the things I incorporated as far as working out at the gym, I'm constantly, well, at least twice of the 3 times I'm working out, I go into the sauna.
Mhm.
And for just 20 minutes to help with my cardiovascular system and
Yep.
everything else. It's everything. And again, that old saying that youth is wasted on the young. If you were telling me, okay, you're going to fast, you're going to work out, and you're going to be in the sauna, and I'm thinking, okay, where am I going? This is just a daily occurrence. So
I agree. I
you,
agree.
I tell people I'm fighting my age. I'm not just,
You ain't going, you kicking it. You're not going in like, okay, you got me.
whenever the conversation comes up of age or something, I'm not just wearing my age on my sleeve. But when you say, oh,
Right.
I'm at this age or that age, you're like, what?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, it's work.
It is.
It's work.
It really is. It really is. I'm going kicking and screaming as well. You're gonna have to be caveman. You're gonna have to grab me by the hair,
Oh, no,
drag me,
we're not gonna drag by the hair, but
drag me, okay? But I don't feel that it's a bad thing. I'm not denying that I'm getting older, but I'm choosing how I want to go into that age
absolutely,
range,
absolutely.
right?
Oh, yeah, Lord willing, I'm gonna live not forever, but a ripe age. But I don't want to walk out the door and they go, damn. And they're saying I'm 10 years older than what I actually am.
Right.
You know?
That's the gut punch right
Oh
there.
God. Yeah, yeah,
That's the gut punch for anybody. No, that's my mama. That's my
yeah.
mama.
No, I'm just standing next to her in the grocery store. I don't even know who this person is.
So let's talk about this. Studies found that people who followed 8-hour eating schedules had 91% higher risk of cardiovascular death. But here's what media didn't tell you. So this is what the naysayers, people who say you don't want to fast for too long, is not good for you, it's going to cause cardiovascular risk. So what they didn't tell you is that's what this data thing, got to get into the weeds with the data.
Oh, the devil's
Sit in
is
the
in the
details.
details. Okay.
Yes, devil's in the details. What they didn't tell you is this was observational data, not control
Okay.
research. No information about what the people ate during their eating windows.
Ah,
No differentiation between healthy versus unhealthy fasting. So they don't know what they was eating. Critics called it flawed and said you shouldn't be wasting brain power or worrying about it. It wasn't controlled. So they had no idea what these people were doing. These people probably didn't even fast at all. Again, data is not always good. The numbers don't lie, but people do. That's all I'm going to say. Let's talk about what some doctors worry about. Because some doctors, when you say, oh, I'm fasting, some of your practitioners will say, how long have you been fasting? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you eat 3 meals a day, right? You need to be
and
eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you
but
look at them and they about 250 pounds and they 5'6".
their training is not in nutrition.
Correct.
Isn't it like one semester? I have a friend of mine whose daughter's in medical school, so I'll be sure when I run into her to ask her, how long did you have a nutrition class?
I heard it was one segment. You have an 8-hour training course, and there was only
Wow.
one segment on nutrition. That's what I heard.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, I knew it was very little. And what did I say? One semester? And
One
I'm
semester,
giving them,
right?
yeah, I'm giving them more credit probably than need be. But either way, considering how long they're in school, one semester, one segment, it's still not enough. It's
Exactly.
not enough.
It's kind of ongoing. When you say nutrition, ongoing because our bodies change, our needs change.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I know of people that have been vegan all their life. I was for 10 years. But as I got older, there's certain things I knew my body needed. So that is not something I need to still do anymore. But I still adopt some of the principles, but I've incorporated other things.
Exactly. And don't they always say you're concerned about, oh, you're going to lose muscle mass. You're going to lose muscle if you fast too long.
If you're still working out while you're fasting, you're not going to lose that. You're not.
Right. Now you've done the process of doing workouts for competition, right?
Right. And then I did the one to be a figure
Yes.
competitor. I
Yes.
did that one. Failed miserably, but I did that one. But then what I found that what I ended up doing was the one for powerlifting. Then I competed as a power lifter. So that's a totally different thing. And my body really adhered to that one a lot better than the other.
But when you were doing competition, didn't they have you do like fasted workouts?
I was fucking starving.
Right.
I was lethargic and I still had to lift a lot of weight. Maybe I got a day off from lifting. So that meant I had to do more cardio. And I'm already not eating.
Right.
Now I got to do more cardio. It
You
was
still,
rough.
right. But you were
It was,
still able to do it. So you're
oh
not
yeah.
losing muscle.
No.
Yeah. I'm just saying. But these are things that they'll tell you. Oh, you don't want to do this long term to your body. They also say don't worry about people who have medical conditions if you're unsupervised. But you have to look at again when they have you do lab work. They want you to do fasted lab work. When you
Yep.
come in for a procedure, they want you to be fasted. When it's certain things they ask you to fast for. So they know the benefits of fasting, but then they tell you, but don't do it for long lengths of time. You're only supposed to do it here and there. But people have fasted from certain things to eat and their bodies have gotten better.
I've gotten stronger from it.
Right. I'm not poo-pooing on doctors, but I'm just saying, think about some of the things that they say to you and question. Always question.
Well, right. And then when you talk about question, there's this one guy that it just came across my For You page. And one of the things that he talks about is question. Again, not saying that you're a doctor and you know your body, but you know your body.
Right.
So your doctor is there to you have a conversation with them so you can find out what best practices are. And again, like I agree with you, you question. Case in point, the other day when I went for my checkup, I'm used to taking my blood pressure reading on my left arm. I immediately wanted to go and give it to me on my right arm. Was it going to make a big difference? I don't know. However, you're writing down the vitals of me. So
Right.
I know my body and I know let's go on the left-hand side
Right.
and we'll work on that. And so the lady was like, oh, okay, no problem. But again, if I just sat there and threw out my arm and then it would have been a high reading or a low reading, then there would have been a discussion. When in fact, let's start with what I know and then go from there. People in and out every day. And so you're doing sometimes what is convenient and easier for you. But no, we're going to do what works best for me.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. I think what we need to look at, multiple studies are showing that fasting improves disease, reduces oxidation, stress, preserves learning and memory, dementia, Alzheimer's, you guys. According to the NIH researchers, recent comprehension analysis shows if may have been beneficial effects on a range of health outcomes. And so if is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting may have beneficial effects on a range of health outcomes. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to do to abstain from putting food into your mouth on a 3 times a day or 6 times a day. It's not to your detriment. I guess
Right.
it's not bad for you.
Right. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing.
Look, I speak passionately about this, and probably because I've been doing it for so long. 5 years ago changed my whole way of thinking. A lot of people say that 5 years ago was the worst time ever. I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I do agree that it changed me personally to look at my body, the choices that I've made with my body, and what I can do for my body in the future a lot differently. Had I known 5 years ago what I know now, if I would have had this type of insight 14 years ago, I probably wouldn't have done the bariatric surgery, nor would I probably had to do the bariatric surgery or thought I had to do the bariatric surgery. I didn't know this stuff 14 years ago. Just 5 years has changed my life.
And we're done.
Wrap. It's a wrap.
But I want to speak to that because that one show, there's tons of weight loss shows out there. And one in particular, 600 Pound Life. And what I like to look at of that one is where are they now? because again, there's always a small percentage of those that will actually keep the weight off and a large percentage that will find it again and either be larger than what they were.
Yep.
So just being able to adopt all these principles and learn as you go, I commend you, because the fact that you have kept it off is saying a lot.
It is not for the faint of heart, and you're right. There are so many people that do gain it back. And I know it's topic adjacent, but still, it is. When I go to my support group, there are people there that have gained it back, like Casey just said, and there's some that
Mhm.
have gained it back 5 times, and they're trying to get another surgery or do something different, but
Will
they
they give you
haven't.
more than one?
It depends on the type of surgery you had. So if you had what I had the vertical sleeve, you can do the Roux-en-Y. So they can still reroute you, because I didn't do the rerouting. They just cut my pouch. So they
Oh,
cut my
jeez.
pouch, my stomach
Okay.
pouch. So if a person had the vertical sleeve and they regain the weight and they're saying that it doesn't work, so they can appeal and try, and their doctor they can revise and get a
Mhm.
Roux-en-Y. They can even do
Wow.
a dual denim. And I'm not too versed on dual denim, but there are other things that you can do. Yes, they can. But again, you're going back through that, getting that surgery, you still have to change your mindset. And that's
Mhm.
what a lot of them don't. It's mindset. You don't come out, get skinny, and then go back to eating like you was when you was a big girl.
Right.
You're going to become a big girl again.
Yeah, and that's when they're saying about, we had mentioned about with the fasting. It's not necessarily to lose weight per se, lose for sure, but it's done, just like I said, for me to manage my eating.
Right.
And I don't, because as I've said before, I'm not very tall. So a little goes a long way for me. So rather than always have to be mindful and worry about counting calories, what's in your mouth, what you're doing, you shouldn't do this. The fasting part is just easier for me. I just
Right.
know from this time to this time, you can eat what you want for the most part, and I don't have to worry about it. And the more you eat what you want, sometimes you get tired of eating that anyway.
Correct.
You
Sometimes
know?
you're not even hungry.
No.
Yeah. And you do have mess ups. So we're not saying that we're perfect at doing this. I have my moments. Okay. I love my sushi. There's certain things I love to eat. And if I want it, I'm gonna eat it. But I have learned enough about myself and my system. I can get back on it.
And that Kirkland vanilla ice cream. Yeah.
Okay. I ain't gonna say I have a problem right now, y'all. I'm about to confess. Right now, I have a problem. These dang Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars with the chocolate, vanilla ice cream, chocolate with the almond clusters in it.
Mhm.
It's a dang problem. It's a dang problem.
Oh
But
my
I'm
goodness.
eating it within that window. Okay.
I eat mine first. So I eat my dessert first.
I'm gonna try that. Because I was thinking about when you told me that, eating the dessert first,
Mhm.
getting that craving, that sweet treat out of the
Uh-huh.
way, right? It makes sense. It does make sense. They do say, what is that saying when they talk about eating, people who eat 3 times a day? They say, if you're going to do that, eat like a king for breakfast, eat like a prince for lunch, eat like a pauper for dinner, minimum, because you're going to go to bed. The most in the early part of the day, this is probably not for people who are stationary, who sit in on their butts half the time,
Right.
a construction worker or someone who is up on their feet
Uh-huh.
moving. You can eat like that and then eat like a prince, eat like a pauper for dinner. That made sense to me when you were telling me that I am going to try it.
Yeah. Now my grandkids, we don't do that. They don't wake up and eat breakfast with ice cream. No, you get waffles. Yeah. And some of them are homeschooled. So oh no, we're not having that.
It is true. But I'm going to take that in consideration, because when you go work out, I can work it off. I can go take a
Yeah.
walk the neighborhood, walk it off. I have satisfied that sweet treat, because my sweet treat happens towards the end of the night.
Right.
When it's time
Right.
for me to cut it off, shut it down. I'll be like, oh, I need that Haagen-Dazs ice
See,
cream bar.
but I tell you that try that. Let me know. But seriously, that's what I do.
I am definitely going to try it. You guys give it a try too. I don't know if you found any value, but I did. I have a problem
Ice
right
cream for
now.
breakfast. Yes. Okay.
What are some of the common myths and misconceptions that you would say are revolving around fasting?
Well, first of all, you're gonna fall out. You're gonna starve yourself to death, which is not the case at all.
Right.
And that's one of them. You're not going to get the necessary nutrients that you need for your body. That's another one that they're saying as well. So there's a bunch of them.
Do you feel that a lot of people say that fasting slows your metabolism, and it's actually reverse? It actually speeds up your metabolism.
I didn't hear. I just heard with all the different craziness going on and this, and that, and do this, do that, that it'll mess up your metabolism. And I don't even know quite how you even mess it up because I'm not that versed in it, but slowing it down.
Yeah, people think you're slowing it down because it feels that your body is going in starvation mode. So it will store
Okay.
up. It'll store up and like be in hibernation mode as opposed to it'll speed up. You're actually training it in a way it knows it's only going to get food within this space of time. So it's once you start doing it for 3 days or so, your body adapts and like, okay, between 12 and 8, KC is going to eat. And so that's our time frame. So it's actually speeding it up because it knows the time frame in which you're going to feed yourself. And so it makes it faster, not slower. It actually says in the short term, up to 72 hours actually increases the metabolic rate by 3 to 14%. So it speeds it up. It doesn't slow it down, y'all. You don't go into starvation mode. That's that myth. You'll lose muscle mass. The truth is growth hormone increases during fasting actually preserves muscle mass. You actually preserve your muscle mass. That's that myth. Myth 3, you need to eat every 3 hours or you'll starve. That's what it says. Our ancestors regularly went 12 plus hours without food.
Some of them went days. Well, I mean, because if you're a hunter and gatherer, you ate what you brought back.
Yep.
So you might be eating berries for a few days.
Right, exactly. The other myth is fasting causes eating disorders. Truth is, when done properly, get that? When done properly, fasting can improve relationship with food and reduce binge eating. So we're not saying that there aren't people who have eating disorders some people are susceptible to, what do you call it? People who love food, they get an eating disorder where they binge, they eat, and they can't stop. It's something triggering their brain. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but in actuality, it doesn't per se cause eating disorders if done properly.
Right. And properly is the operative word there, because going back to trying to get into figure bodybuilding, I could see where I would have definitely had, personally, I can't speak for anybody else, I would have had an eating disorder because you're looking a certain way and you want to stay there.
Yep.
Which then at that point, I was really mindful of everything I ate, everything that I didn't eat. And it's sometimes when you want something and you don't eat it, that makes you want it even more. So now you've got this shit going on in your head, because then you go and you give into that. And I'm not even gonna say temptation, you give into it. Now you're beating yourself up. And now that's a whole nother cycle upon itself. So now I would have to work out even more to get rid of that, but I still want to get the cuts.
Yeah, it really is. And I think people who fall into those addictive or those disorder behaviors is because it's a mental thing. And you have to get to the point where you understand that it's a mental game. And that's just in life, period. But a lot of folks can't grasp it. It took me forever to get here. You know what I'm saying? I went down that rabbit hole of doing that as well, wanting something and craving it for so long. And then I'm fasting, but I'm, like you were saying, thinking about food.
Yeah, now that becomes your forethought all the time. You're always concerned about that.
Right.
And
I have messed up many challenges that I went through because when I gave in. And once I gave in, I went head first and I couldn't stop. Because
you said I already screwed it. No, really.
Yeah,
that's what you do. You tell yourself that.
Yep. So it's not like I've done this, been perfect at it and said, oh, I got it down. No, I've been up and down. I can say now that I'm more aware, I'm more cognizant, so I can pull it in quicker. But not to say that I don't have those. I'll see something on TV, that these damn commercials, and they're like, dang, that look good. I think I want to go. It's right down the street.
Man, on IG, when they're doing stuff with biscuits and butter and all this and garlic, and I'm just like, oh, I got all those ingredients in my kitchen right now. It's 8:02. It's all shit.
Okay, let's get to the modern part of it. DoorDash and Uber Eats.
See, that stuff, we do it every so often. We do it not that often, because once you order the food and once you get all the other little taxes and this and that. No, yeah. I don't have a problem.
Craving, I had the most cravings when we were locked in. And they were doing it, man, and all you could really do, we were DoorDashing and Uber eating it up, boy. I didn't even look at the fees. I was just
oh, that must be nice, but okay.
It was for a moment. You can go and just binge because it's accessible.
That's the problem with a lot of us being overweight, really, because it is so accessible. They're already saying you have to eat 3 times a day. And then on top of that, okay, now I can go and call 3 times a day and get that food. So now I'm picking anything that I want. I'm working and I'm eating while I'm working. And that's where like I said, being sedentary is now the new smoking.
Yeah, it is. It really.
Yeah, I heard it on one of the conversations that I was listening to on a podcast one time, and that's what they were saying.
I believe it. I like that saying. It is dangerous for your health, being
Very,
sedentary. Yeah,
very dangerous.
I agree. Let's talk about it, beautiful folks. We covered a lot in this first part of this. We talked about ancient roots, we talked about science, different types, and busted some of the major myths.
Not just the foundation, but in part 2, we're going to be getting into the practical stuff, how to actually start, what to expect, how to break a fast properly, and who should not be fasting. There are those that should not be fasting.
Yes, believe it or not.
Yep.
We do agree with that. Yes. Plus, we're going to deep dive on my boy,
Yep.
Asprey, his specific protocol, sharing more of our personal experiences, the good, the challenging, and the breakthrough moments.
There you go. Don't forget to drop a comment. Let us know. Have you tried fasting? What's holding you back? What questions do you have? Just let us know.
Let us know. If you're already fasting, share your experience, please. This community learns from each other. We like to learn from each other, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories.
And also, most importantly, make sure you subscribe, because part 2 is coming next week, and we're not holding back. Until then, keep disrupting and discussing.
All right, you guys.
Bye.
Tiki Barber here. I remember those grueling practices, pushing through fatigue and striving for greatness. Well, that's the same dedication My Herba puts into their supplements. They understand the body's needs. My Herba takes a holistic approach to wellness. Whether it's their sea moss, immune defense, or even sleepy time, they have an option for you. Let My Herba make the best you with code BARBER10 for 10% off at thefitnesscollectif.com.
Now I'm the only person that's doing what I'm doing. I accept that role. I am who I am. I'm comfortable with being who I am.